So I want to talk to you about powertrain potential. Now, what is powertrain? Honestly, when I hear powertrain, the first thing that comes to mind is, I can't remember if it was Ford or Dodge, one of the truck companies, powertrain warranty or greatest powertrain in North America or something like that. But that's not, just what powertrain means. And I think about it often in the human body, because it's extremely critical to acknowledge the powertrains and how they work. And let's break the word down basically first. So power, speed and force, right? The ability to move things either a great distance or something heavy, a short distance or however far. You can add your own definition to power, but I think we all know what it is. It's kind of a force, basically. A force to make a change, to move an object forward, to move the body forward, whatever it is. Okay, so then the word train, what do you think of when you think of a train? Well, personally, I first think of train carts, of course. But it's sequential, right? It's one after the other. It's one piece moving the other piece. So you have the engine, the motor at the very front of the train, and then that is attached to one cart, that's attached to another cart, that's attached to another cart, and so on. So the power, the force of the engine in the front drives all of the moving parts, just like with the human body. Wherever the force is generated, and given that the human body is made up of muscles, there is the engine, the power generating component, in multiple places of the body, but primarily in the hips and legs. So powertrain, it's the power continuum, right? It's the power coming off of wherever the force is produced, wherever the power is produced, and having a solid, seamless connection with the least amount of resistance points in order to project the body or the joints, the components of the body forward. Just like with a truck, it's the power once again is coming from the engine, and it's driving a train or a chain of events down from the engine to whatever it's powering. So obviously in the case of a truck, it's powering the wheels, but it also might be powering the alternator. And if you have it hooked up to any other kind of equipment, it's powering that. The powertrain on a wood splitter is powering the hydraulic cylinder that's pushing into the wood. On my tractor, it's powering the rototiller or the backhoe or whatever. Point is, it's generating force. The force is transmitted down different links to get to its final place of where you want that energy to go. So when I say the word powertrain potential, I mean, what is the potential of a functioning powertrain system in producing force and moving the object of your body or your body parts or individual objects where you want them to go, from point A to point B. Now, there's different chains and trains, kind of an interchangeable word here. Obviously, chains is the same exact idea. The links in the chain are like the carts in the train. You pull on one end and it moves the other ones. It's a chain of events, right? So basically, if you have any kind of stuck areas in the links of your chain, you're not going to have full powertrain potential. So I've been able to help people achieve, say their squat is 200 pounds, for example. I've been able to increase that by 20 to 30% just by improving their powertrain potential, and you can do that too. So if someone were to say to you, say you're in the gym and you've been training for a long while and you squat 200 pounds, for example, and someone said to you, hey, you know what? In a couple sessions, a couple 1 hour treatments maybe, or 2 hour treatments, whatever, I can increase your squat by up to 30%. It's bogus, right? How are you going to do that? You're going to give me some methamphetamine or something? Or give me some fake weight plates? You're going to write that off probably pretty quickly until you realize that you're actually impeding your powertrain potential because you are stuck. And if you're squatting and you don't have the muscles working in unison, connected via the fascia, and your joints are immobile for whatever reason, from soft tissue, from cartilage, from scar tissue, from being muscle bound, from contractures, you're not going to produce power throughout that powertrain in a way that's going to allow you to move, because there's just simply more resistance. It's like having a wheel without bearings. So I use a squat as an example because it's the power in the squat obviously comes from the legs, comes from the glutes, comes from the quadriceps, comes from the calves even, and so on, and of course the core, you know, all the way up to the top of the head, from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head. But the biggest engines that are involved, of course, are the leg muscles, basically. And so a lot of people, especially if they have lower back problems or other aches or pains, they have they're muscle bound in the hip flexors, and the adductors, and the quads, often, not always, but often. And so when we get the blood flowing and allow the muscles to seamlessly produce force without resistance, they're no longer, the person who's doing the squat or whatever exercise is no longer fighting against the resistance created by their own body, their own contractures. Like, if you got strong quads and they're tight because you haven't been able to get the flexibility and the blood flow in that's necessary to produce force, the strength that you have and the mass that you have in your quads become a deficit. Hip flexors, same thing, whatever. So if we can release that and allow that to function at its maximal capacity, of course you can increase your powertrain potential. You can PR, you can get a greater squat or whatever exercise you're doing, because you're actually able to access those muscle fibers, and you have less resistance through the movement. It's literally that simple. So that's it. Powertrain potential. It's not just all the other measurable aspects of fitness, of flexibility, of strength, of mobility, etc. All of those combined are what contributes to the powertrain potential. And of course, balancing your movements, making sure that bilaterally on both sides there's not a significant imbalance, is putting torsion on, stuff like that. But again, that's kind of tied into mobility. Anyways, thank you for listening. Hope that was helpful.